The ChatGPT versus Bard wars are heating up, and Bard has just dropped a huge number of incredible updates that I think make it the marketer's new best friend. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they are and how they work. Okay, so the big story is that Bard now has extensions, just like ChatGPT plugins. Now, these aren't available yet for every account. I can only see them on my personal Google account rather than my work one, but it's this little extension box up at the top here. If you give it a click, you can see that there's a whole bunch of extensions. At the moment, these are only Google products, but I think that actually helps them. We'll come back to that in a second. But as you can see, we've got extensions for flights, hotels, maps, Google Workspace, and YouTube. First, we're going to look through these ones to begin with. These are the nice, simple ones that replicate the sort of experience that we're used to seeing in ChatGPT. So let's say I give Bard a prompt like find me flights from Heathrow to LAX leaving on Monday morning. Google then uses the Google Flights extension and gives me these answers. It also gives me this really nice table here where I can see the information in a really easy to consume way. And I can click to go and view these options on Google Flights. Now, this does feel fairly familiar. We can use the Expedia plugin in ChatGPT to also search for flights. But for me, the experience here is super inferior to what we're getting in Bard. Firstly, it takes way longer to get the results. And then, my biggest bugbear with ChatGPT plugins is the output is given to us in this horrible text format. Compared to just going to Expedia Direct, this is disgusting. There's also an integration with Google Maps, so you can ask it questions about places in the world and it will answer and give you map results. For example, here I've asked where is Exposure Ninja based and how long would it take to drive there. Now, to be fair, it's given a completely incorrect answer. We don't have an office in London, so I'm not entirely sure why it's given that, unless there's something I don't know. And then you can actually call specific extensions if you want to. For example, let's say we wanted to find me a video about how to write page titles and meta descriptions, and then we add the YouTube extension, and it will then use that YouTube extension to give us the answer. It then gives us the videos straight in the search results. Now, is this actually any easier than just going straight to YouTube for this? Arguably not, but the point is that the results are presented in a much more easy to understand and much more attractive way than the equivalent searches on ChatGPT. Not least because, of course, Google is only integrating with its own products, whereas OpenAI has to try and integrate with all of these third-party products in ChatGPT. All of this stuff is great, but it's actually two other features of new Bard that I think hold the most potential for marketers and make Bard your new best friend. The first of these is integration with Google Workspace. So your Drive files like your docs and your email. To me, this significantly elevates the capability of an AI chatbot. Let me show you an example. If you're a marketer and you want to stay up to date with the most useful AI tools today, then subscribe to the Powered by AI newsletter at pbai.co. This newsletter is for marketers who want to keep up to date with the latest tools and innovations in the world of AI and generative AI specifically, but don't have the time to test every single tool to find out what works and what's just a whole bunch of hype. So go to pbai.co to register for the newsletter today. So in my Google Drive, I have this folder called OneTies. Now, OneTies was a business idea that I had way back in 2016. To be honest, I can barely even remember anything about it. So let's use this as an example. Now, let's say that I go to Bard and I start a new chat and say, what was the premise of OneTies? I then @drive because I want it to use that as the resource for this answer. Now look at the answer it gives me. It hunts through Workspace, it finds me the relevant files which reference OneTies, and it summarizes the information in those files to give me a very clear one-sentence description of exactly what OneTies was. If I want to go into these docs to find out more information or see where this info was sourced from, I can. This is killer for marketers because it allows us to use Bard to create customized content about our business. Bard now knows things about my business that even I've forgotten. So let's say that I want Bard to write me a launch press release for OneTies. Well, it does it. And it does it using the information about my business. No other chatbot can do this. ChatGPT can't do this. It doesn't have enough information about your business. If you wanted ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other services to do this, you would have to manually upload the information that you wanted it to work from, whereas Bard can work from your existing Workspace docs, which I think makes this a huge level up. Now, this press release isn't perfect by any means, but it's a really good start, and it's much less boilerplate than I would get from one of the other services because it is using my proprietary data. Let's say that I wanted to create an investor presentation for Onetize. It can do that. It can take its large language model understanding about what makes a good investor presentation, overlay my company's specific data, and give me something that is a decent starting point. I can use Bard to create blog posts which position my business as the solution to the reader's problem. And whilst this isn't perfect, for example, it's just made up some case studies, so long as I have a good human review this could be the basis of a decent blog post. The other feature of New Bard, which I think makes it incredibly attractive for marketers, is fact checking. Now, hallucinations or making stuff up have long been a bugbear of marketers. What you don't want to be doing is publishing information that is factually inaccurate. And Bard seeks to address this. Let's look at examples. So let's say that I've asked Bard to write me an outline for a blog post about the Fed's interest rate decision and how this may impact e-commerce shoppers. Now, it's done that, and it's given me this reasonable starting point blog post outline. What I can then do is click the little Google icon at the bottom to double check this response. It will then go to the Google search engine and look for information which corroborates the key statements in this blog post. It color codes these, so green means it's found some content which corroborates this statement. If we click on it, we can see that content and where it's come from. Orange, meanwhile, means that Google didn't find information that corroborated this statement. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, it just means it can't verify this statement. Now, this feature isn't perfect. For example, this blog post is working from the premise that interest rates are currently low. Well, actually, interest rates are at like a 15-year high right now. So the fundamental premise behind this blog post isn't true, and the fact-checking hasn't managed to spot that. Nevertheless, given the Bard is still an experiment stage, I think this is a really encouraging sign of where things are going. So for me, Bard's updates are a total game changer for people in business and specifically for marketers. The integration with Google Workspace is incredibly powerful. Sure, the integration with things like maps, hotels and flights and YouTube, these are great, but arguably you could just get better results going directly to those services. But the fact that we marketers can now fact check directly in Bard, I think, makes it one of the most useful chatbots today. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments.